Everyone knows the disastrous event that took place September 2001 in New York. But what if I were to tell you that New York was already bracing for a second disastrous event that same day? You are now within minutes of horror, and your only chances of survival is hitting that like button. With that being said, let's continue on with the video. Now, if you do not know what the Mandela Effect is, the Mandela Effect refers to a situation in which a large mass of people believe that an event occurred when it did not. The term was originated in 2009 by Fiona Broome, after she discovered that she, along with a number of other people, believed that Nelson Mandela had died in the 1980s, when he actually died in 2013. Broome remembers being at a conference talking with other people about how she remembers the tragedy of former South African President Nelson Mandela's death in a South African prison in the 1980s. Now, many people believe that the Mandela Effect is due to alternate realities crossing into ours, thanks to CERN and the Large Hadron Collider. The Large Hadron Collider was activated a year prior in 2008, and then in 2009, we do get the first reference of the Mandela Effect. Now, there are those that do not like talking about the Mandela Effect because they believe that's absolute crazy talk, absolute Looney Tunes. Speaking of Looney Tunes, think back to when you were a kid and you were watching Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. How would you believe Tunes was spelled in Looney Tunes? Now, if you were to say T-O-O-N-S because they're cartoons, you would be wrong. It is and always has been T-U-N-E-S like music. To many people that doesn't make much sense, but that's how it always was. And that is just one of many examples. That is how the Mandela Effect works. What you believe to be true is now only just a false memory. Now, as I said in the introduction of this video, think back to September 2001 in New York. Now, I can't say the whole day or what actually occurred that day because YouTube does not like that kind of talk. They will pounce on this video very quickly. But I do believe everybody knows what happened that day, September 2001 in New York. If you ask anybody in the United States where they were that day, they'll most likely remember because it was a very tragic day. But if you ask anybody that's from that area or around that area, New York, New Jersey, if they were bracing for another tragic event that day, they'll most likely say, "What are you talking about?" I was born and raised in New Jersey for about 20 years. Any major hurricane that hits New York, New Jersey more than likely is going to feel the outer bands as well. So more than likely, we would hear about this major hurricane about to hit New York, and we would prepare ourselves. Now, this massive hurricane's trajectory was spotted on September 9th. It was scheduled to make landfall the same day the planes hit the buildings. This hurricane was supposed to bring colossal damage. People even look back on it now and compare it to Hurricane Katrina. If this had made landfall, this would have been New York's Hurricane Katrina. So on September 10th, people were really bunkering down. They were really preparing for this massive hurricane that was going to hit them in New York. But if you ask people in New York if they remember preparing for a hurricane, they would say no. Matter of fact, that day when the planes hit, they would say that that day was like any other day. The skies were clear, the skies were blue. It was just a normal, ordinary day.
What's happening with weather conditions around the nation? We start with the high temperatures for today. It is going to be a warm one in the south, but these temperatures are pretty much seasonable for most of the nation. 70s in the upper Midwest. We'll see some 80s throughout much of the U.S. Desert Southwest, of course, over 100 degrees again. Take a look at the highlights for today. New York City, beautiful day here. 80 degrees today. St. Louis, 83. Albuquerque, you're looking at 87. San Diego, a pleasant 74. Where will we see rain? We'll see some scattered showers in portions of the west. Most of the west will be dry. Look for possible flooding in southern Texas, central and southern Florida, where the rain will be heavy.
Now, it could be that people just have forgotten about the hurricane because a much bigger event took place that day. But there are those that also say, had Hurricane Aaron hit that day, as massive as it was, with all the winds and the rain and the damage, any flights going into New York would have been canceled.
Hurricane Aaron had moved into the Northeast on September 11th. It likely would have canceled numerous flights, and prevented the terrorists from carrying out their plans.
The hijackers, the terrorists, needed certain conditions to fulfill what they wanted to do, and the weather just would not have allowed that if a hurricane had hit New York on that day.
Ironically, the beautifully pristine weather that arrived on the morning of September 11th actually helped the terrorists.
I mean, they needed really good weather, which they got. That cold front just scoured the atmosphere clean. It was as clear as you recall and as blue as we have.
And also those who took over those planes would have needed clear skies in order to succeed with their mission. Now, even though that event would not have taken place, another event would have taken in its place, Hurricane Aaron, bringing a lot of destruction to New York. Now, some can look at this and say, no matter the alternate universe, New York was still scheduled to have destruction and tragedy on that day. So what actually did happen to Hurricane Aaron? Even though it was scheduled to make landfall on that same day, a cold front at the last minute just pushed it back out to sea. It makes a hard right and doesn't affect New York one bit. Now just imagine, had Hurricane Aaron made landfall that day, how different our history would have been. With the ongoing bad weather, could plans to attack New York just have been stopped altogether, or would it have been saved for another day? Now, with nobody remembering Hurricane Aaron and a cold front that changed the course of history, was Hurricane Aaron a Mandela Effect? But I do want to know your thoughts. Please comment below. Was Hurricane Aaron just something we all forgot because a bigger tragedy happened that day? Or is it possible that Hurricane Aaron is a Mandela Effect, and you would think we would hear about this cold front that would change the course of history? Please comment below. In any case, thank you so much for watching. If you do like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.